What is up, family? Welcome into your review from your boy, the friendly neighborhood blurred, the Fallen Marvel, and we are about to review the latest from the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the last film from James Gunn under the Marvel banner, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. This is deemed the official wrap up of James Gunn's story of the Guardians of the Galaxy within the MCU, and I have to say that I have a lot of thoughts about it. I'm going to try to get through them as quickly as I can in this review because I feel that I really digested a lot with this movie. So, the usual structure, you get the good, the bad, and my overall thoughts, and you get my score. And let's not even stall anymore. Let's get into this thing. Here we go. I have to say that within the MCU, I feel that this is probably the best arc completion for characters that we've seen in that world in a long time. Like, everybody has their own emotional baggage that they're trying to get through, and between all three movies, the last two Avengers movies, everybody is going through a lot. And I have to say that's one of the things that this movie surprised me about because it really hones in that even with the humorous tone that they use, everybody is trying to handle everything that they've gone through in their own way. Rocket, especially. I personally feel like Rocket has been a fan favorite for a while, and honestly, after seeing this movie, he is my favorite character in this group, without a doubt. Gamora was especially interesting in this film as well, and I only have one word to describe Gamora in this movie: savage. That's the only way I can put it. This woman is savage. They most certainly hammer it home that this is not the same Gamora that we have come to know and love, especially for Peter Quill. This is a completely different Gamora from a different time in her life. Boy, do they showcase it here. The movie just really does a fantastic job of making every single person, whether big or small, feel like just a really good character, whether it's just a bigger role or a smaller role. Like, they introduced Cosmo the dog, and she is really fun, and things of that nature. In the introduction to Sean Gunn's character, I can never remember the name, but he has a thing with trying to follow in Yondu's footsteps and stuff like that, and they kind of play on that a little bit. But I was just surprised how everybody just felt genuine. Like, everybody felt like a genuine character, and I absolutely love that about this movie. And then we have the Higher Evolutionary as the main antagonist in this movie. Oh man. If we it's been a while since we've had a top to bottom absolutely ruthless bad guy for a movie. Wow. I honestly feel James Gunn did a really great job with the villain in this movie because where up to this point we've had a lot of sympathetic villains, with this guy, there's no sympathy to be had with this guy. He's cold, he's calculating. You can kind of see what he's trying to go for, but at the same time, there's nothing redeeming about this guy. Nothing. I really love how pompous and over melodramatic that his characterization is in this, to the point where he's both menacing and very entertaining. And I just really love how they were able to balance those character contrasts to make this guy a bit of a complete character, albeit a villain. But I really enjoyed this guy as a villain. And it's really hard to say that, but not in the way that you think, because we've had some movies with some really great villains. But I really feel like this guy belongs on the list without a doubt. I honestly really feel the last thing to mention is probably, which is the chef's kiss to this whole thing, is the soundtrack. I honestly feel like this movie really tapped in what made the first movie kind of special, and a large part of it was the music choice for it. And I really feel that they went back to those basics and really using really well placed song choices to really fit the mood of what was going on. And they picked some bangers for this movie, straight up. There were some criticisms of the second movie because even though people still generally liked it, it always felt like it was missing something. I don't know if it was because that we were so far along in the narrative by the second film. It just kind of just really felt like, I think in comparison, Volume 2 felt more by the numbers compared to 1 and 3. But with this one, man, I feel like they hit it out of the park with everything that I talked about so far. Straight up. Okay, so enough with the blubbering over this movie. Let's get into some of the things that I didn't really like very much, which, fair warning, not a long list, but let's hit it. Now, not sure how much time has passed since the previous movies that we get to this one, but it really does seem like there was a significant amount of time that passed that, again, we get introduced to new characters, things kind of just kick right off, and you don't really get a whole lot of backdrop for why certain things are taking place, but they do fill in those blanks, so it's not that much of a problem. But as with these movies that's continuing a bigger story, you kind of wish that you got those missing pieces that you didn't get initially. It's more so mainly with the stuff dealing with Adam, or Adam Warlock as the comic heads know him to be. But again, it's something that they do eventually address, but at the same time, a lot of stuff kind of just kicks off to where it's just like, yo, what's going on here? Like, you're kind of confused at the beginning because it's like, okay, where's this going? And he's probably the most underutilized character in this. You get a lot with him at the very beginning of it, but because he's kind of a cog in the wheel of the bigger plot and stuff like that, you don't really get a whole lot of him throughout the rest of the movie. But at the same time, this is kind of an origin story for him too. So he's used in a similar capacity as they use Spider-Man in Civil War, just not quite as effective as Peter Parker, but it's kind of the same setup for his character going forward. Now, the only thing that I will say that's probably a potential negative is sometimes they do go through a lot of different emotional beats throughout the film. Like sometimes it's lighthearted, sometimes it's dark, sometimes it's funny, but James Gunn does have a really good way of blending all of those things together to where it's not necessarily clashing. Now, if you're humored out with MCU movies or whatever, you're probably going to be more sensitive to it than others are. But I honestly feel that this was done in a really well way to where, me personally, I can't really think of it as a negative. So, with my overall thoughts to this film, I honestly feel that it is very well made. It is most definitely an MCU highlight of 2023. So far, this is only the second MCU project this year, but so far, this is the best movie to come out of that camp so far. And I mean that generally, even compared to other films, I really believe that this is a really good film. I'm not sure how most people are going to feel about it overall because, again, MCU kind of has been in a slump probably in the last, I want to say, 7 or 8 months with releases between projects. But this, to me, this is a step in the right direction. There's really not much else for me to add on to that. So, with all that being said, this movie Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 gets a marvelous score of 9 out of 10. This was a very, very well made film, in my opinion. James Gunn did his thing. There were a lot of emotional beats, a lot of humorous parts, a lot of heart to heart things, dealing with uh, having a lot of crossroad moments between different characters with their past and their present and what they think of their futures and everything. There's a lot of trying to finding yourself and where that leads after everything is said and done. I think that was executed in this movie beautifully, and I urge you, if you have not seen this movie yet, please go see it. It is definitely worth the price of admission. Go see it. Just go see it. So, everyone, that is my review of Guardians 3. Hope you guys enjoyed my review of it. I gave myself the weekend to really get my thoughts out of the way, to really know how I felt about it and all that good stuff. So, if you've seen it already, go ahead and leave your comments down below and whatnot, and we can talk about it and all that great stuff. So, until then, keep following my advice to go nerd but nerd responsibly. This is your boy, The Fallen Marvel. Your boy, your homie, your blurred, your friendly neighborhood blurred. I'll see y'all later. Have a good one, guys. I'll check y'all later. Deuces.